Salute, Nick family. Welcome to the Queen's Court. I'm your host, Stephanie, aka Queen. You know what we do every Monday around this time. Unless the Knicks have a game, we talk about the last week's slate of games, who and what stood out for us. We preview next week's games, and we talk about all the storylines in between. So we got a lot to talk about. Brunson got hurt. The Twitter narrative that Tibs is running the team down into the ground. We're about 1 or 1.5 games out the playoffs. I play in, I'm sorry. And I guess, fans want us to just preserve the Knicks. Don't play them, even if we fall to 8. We got a lot to talk about. Let me just bring in the crew. You got Tony Crow from Knicks and Bruises, Jeff Clafton, Ajay, resident panelist on Dope Soul Sports Talk, the Just Nicking It show. Jeff has been doing whatever he's doing the past few weeks. We miss him. How's everybody doing?
Glad to be back. Been missing my Knicks family for sure.
He salute Queen, Tony, Jeff, and of course the chat. But Jeff been MIA, man. So much so his mic is like, we was talking about this in the background. His mic is rusty. I hear a pop. Don't worry. As the show goes on, it'll get. It'll smooth out. It'll smooth out.
Yeah, and as always, I'm happy to be back. Glad I made it. I think I missed last week. I'm pretty sure I missed last week.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. It's been a hectic couple of weeks ever since I took this time off for this game. Somehow my schedule had been a little flunky, but it is what it is.
Yeah, no doubt. Shout out to Simeon Russell. But I want to just go over this quick. This is the MBK family of shows. You guys know it already, those who watch us and been following us for years, but I still want to go over it. We got pregame, postgame, and a shoot around with Simeon Russell, the creator of this channel, Nothing But Knicks. The NBA wrap up with Ron of one of the co-founders of Still Knick Fans. The controversy with Josh, aka Uncle Fulio. The Losers Lounge with yours truly, Tony Crow of Knicks and Bruises, and he might have something else up his sleeve. I'll let him talk about it when he's ready. Live shows and videos by International Andy, who is in flight right now from Poland to the United States.
Oh, they said he landed.
He landed?
That's what they saying. That's what they saying.
Andy.
So he's just national Andy now.
Right. Andy has landed in the United States. We're gonna, we'll be at the Losers Lounge. We'll be at Legends Sunday, March 10th for a pregame show. Then we're going to the game. Then we're coming back and we're gonna do the postgame show from Legends. However, if you have tickets, I don't know if there's tickets still available. That's fine. Get them. If not, come to Legends and have a watch party. Be a part of the pregame, festivities. Stay there, watch the game. Those of us going to the game, we're going to come back to Legends anyway, right? So you just stay there, relax. They got nice drinks, nice wings. Stay there and relax. Spend that Sunday with the NBK family. Queen's Court, which is this show right here with yours truly, Stephanie of Dope Soul Sports Talk. If you haven't already, go to YouTube, go to the search bar, put in Dope Soul Sports Talk, and subscribe to the channel. And again, special programming and events by Sim. The activity, the event we're going to have at Legends was coordinated by Simeon Russell. Does a great job keeping us together, keeping us in contact. All right. Let's get back to the panel. No slides today. All right. No slides today. It's been a rough week for me, a long week for me, but it's still going to be a good show. All right, it's the people that make the show, not the slides. So let's get into it. Who and what? Now, this week, I don't even know what our record was this week. What was our record since we last met?
2-2.
2-2 since we last met. All right, 500. All right, cool. Who and what, while I pull up the schedule, who and what has stood out for you this week? Don't everybody talk? All right, Ajay, we're going to start with you. Jeff.
Queen, how could it be anything other than last night's win against the Cleveland Cavaliers? I mean, that it didn't just stand out this past week. It stand out like for the whole season. I mean, that's one of the sweetest, gutsiest, best performances I've seen from this team, in this season. And that's, by the way, a sign of a good, great, if not great team when like every other game or so you're like, wait, that was the best win of the season. And 2 weeks later, wait, that was the best win of the season. How many best wins we've had this season? But yesterday was special because yesterday, I mean, the odds were against us going in the game with our best scorer and our best player, Jalen Brunson. He
Mhm.
went down inside of the first minute, and we somehow found a way to beat this Cleveland Cavalier team. And watching the game, you never felt threatened that we were going to lose that game. Even though they tied up and I think they got up by 2 points at the half, and they put up a little fight in the third quarter, but you knew like you know we went in there just to send a message, to make a point, and got it done. I mean, shout out to everybody who touched the court, who had who had a part, and that's literally the whole team. Everybody who got minute yesterday did their part, to win this game.
Who was the player of the game for you last night?
I want to. Oh, wow. So Josh Hart, probably because of his. You can't just look at points. You got to look at the activity, like everything else he did. Okay. But he was to me, he was the player of the game because he's the one who, on top of his usual effort, like he added a little something more. It's like he went into another gear, for that game just to make up for the loss. Of course, you can't discount DiVincenzo, who poured in some maybe 28 points, who came through, and Deuce McBride, who came in and I mean, he played the entire game outside of the 35 seconds that Jalen Brunson played. He
Right.
played everything. He played every other minute of the game. Everybody contributed. Hart contributed.
8 assists. We haven't talked about Hart. 8 assists.
Yeah, Hart, Precious Achua. I don't know how many blocks he had. Like he was I mean, he was a defensive. Listen, everybody came in and did their thing. Bojan Bogdanovic, he came
Oh,
in,
man.
reported like 20 points. Alec Burks didn't have a great game, but he had a little something. He did a little help. I think he had like maybe 8 points. When you look at 8 points in 11 minutes, that's not terrible. That's almost a point a minute, and that's great in the NBA. He didn't play a lot. Jericho Sims, I don't think he scored anything, but his big body was very helpful out there. Listen, everybody chipped in. Anybody brought in some sort of contribution to make this win happen. And even Tibs, you got to give him credit because Alec Burks didn't have it, so he didn't have him out there for 28 minutes. He recognized that right away and limited his minutes and let Deuce play, because otherwise, that time would have been split between him and Deuce. He recognized that, what, let me let Deuce roll out the whole. But everybody deserved some sort of credit for that win.
Yeah, but I also think McBride has been playing well enough. I think that's so that he feels like he can stick with McBride for 47 minutes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And on that team, there's probably maybe two guys that could play 47 minutes. It's Josh Hart, who's done it, and McBride. McBride is 16 years old, so yeah, he could play 2 games, 2 nights in a row, 47 minutes.
And Precious.
And Precious.
Right.
But Precious kind of shared a little bit with I don't know how you work.
Yeah, 21 and a half minutes.
Yeah, right. We see because he had some minutes at the 5, at the 4. He shared with Bogdanovic and with Hart. Somehow, he managed.
Hart only played 23 minutes. Wow, 8 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds, a triple single.
Yeah, triple single. You know what? That's all we needed. So that's good enough.
Jeff and Tone, also include your player of the week. I know I asked Ajay his player of the game, but player of the week. And just so you know who we played, just to refresh your memory, we beat Detroit at Madison Square Garden. We lost to New Orleans in Madison Square Garden. We lost to Golden State in Madison Square Garden. And we beat Cleveland at Cleveland. 2-2.
Yeah, what Deuce did was incredible. I mean, the guy comes in 30 seconds in and then doesn't sit. Like,
Yeah.
that's incredible. And you know, and you look at his stats, and I think he had 16 and 5 assists or something like that. He didn't shoot the ball incredibly well, and I didn't even think it was necessarily his best game defensively either. But just to come in and soak up those minutes and be a useful contributor on the floor, you know, it kind of, when he plays like this, it kind of lets me know that, yeah, that's maybe one of the reasons why they were okay with letting Quentin Grimes go. You know, because here's a guy who's a fantastic defender. He's been a good three-point shooter. He's not shy. You know, he's not as big as Grimes, and I don't know that he's, you know, so I don't know that he can handle the 2-3. You know, he's more a guard the 1-2 than Quentin Grimes is. But I think that factored into the calculus of the trade. To me, he's been better than Burks. I mean, I like Burks. I like the idea of Burks, but the way Burks has played, you know, Deuce is just better right now. You know, and he doesn't have necessarily the chops for finishing at the, you know, dribble penetration and those sorts of things that we've seen Burks do. But Burks has been so bad with his percentages finishing at the rim, and he's just not in a rhythm with this team right now. So it was good to see Deuce come in and soak up those 47 minutes, and incredible job. And Josh Hart, one of the gutsiest triple doubles I've ever seen. I mean, you know,
Right.
it seems like he got every rebound in that game, and just a gargantuan effort. You know, he's one of those players that we as Knicks fans are like, we're paying him what? Especially when you look at his points per game, and then he has a game like he had against Cleveland, and you're like, oh yeah, that's why we're paying him that kind of money, because his impact is greater than what he does on the score sheet, and you don't win games like that without him, and and again, it's been a little bit, but Dante DiVincenzo, I got to give Queen her flowers for a minute. You said at the beginning of the year that you really thought that he had another level untapped that he could, you know, get to, and I was skeptical of that, but man, this man is a professional shooter, and he just kills you. I mean, 28 points, I think it was 7 of 12 or something like that from deep, and just every shot is a big one. And there's not a lot of guys who can just come in and do that. Like, it's one thing when you're the fourth option or the fifth option and you're getting wide open shots and you're knocking them down at 40%. But he's been thrust into an entirely different role about being a primary, or at least a secondary shot creator for the offense. And he's still getting those threes up, and he's still hitting them at a terrific clip. So to see that from DiVincenzo, that to me is super impressive. I mean, what a guy. And again, his play also makes it easier to let Grimes go, because Grimes wasn't going to get the minutes. He's playing so well, you can't bench him. You know what I mean? You've got to have him on the floor for all those minutes, because he's so impactful, and he is getting the attention from the opposing defenses now. They're game planning for him, and he's still knocking it down, and that's super impressive. And then the last thing I'll say before I turn it over to Tony is, you know, Bogdanović had a good game yesterday. I mean, he was 1 for 6 from 3, but he still had 20 points, and he just felt. I mean, I know he's not a really good defensive player, but his contributions on offense just felt massive for that team last night, because it's a team that, you know, with Jalen Brunson in the lineup, we're the third best offense in the NBA, and without Jalen Brunson in the lineup, we're dead last. So anytime you can get a contribution from a guy, and like I said, I was more excited about bringing back Burks than I was about acquiring Bogdanović, but I've completely flipped on that. I think Bogey's been much better
Yes.
and at least, what I'd really like to see is Burks and Bogey in their proper roles, like when everybody comes back healthy. I think just to a man, even with Deuce and some of these other guys, we're asking them to do way more than their pay grade right now. And you can have Josh Hart step up for a game or two. You can have DiVincenzo step up for a game or two. But we've got to get our cupboard back because Josh Hart can't play 47 minutes every night. It's not, they are going to break down. But the other thing is, I know it's popular to crush Tibs for playing players too many minutes, but that wasn't what that Jalen Brunson injury was. That was just a freak thing that it happened in the first minute of the game. It was just a fluke thing. So I don't even put that in that category. If you want to talk about Isaiah Hartenstein with his tendinopathy and put some of the blame for that on Thibodeau, I can get behind that a little bit, and maybe some of the other injuries, but not with Julius' injury, not with Mitch's injury, not with OG's injury, and not with Brunson's injury. So I think that those are, those four, I think you can't really put on him. So I think that trope is tired. And if you look at Brunson, he's not top 8 in the league in minutes played, even when he's, the other teams do that with their stars, is what I'm saying. So,
Jeff, you got to check your mic. I'm not sure what it is because you're not using a cord or anything. I don't know if you have it next to something, but it's real.
Sorry,
choppy
I don't.
And static and it's staticky. Like I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it.
Try to jump out and jump back in.
I'll try that and let Tony go.
Okay. All right. Tone, just sure who and what stood out for you and player of the week, or if you want to just use the Cleveland game because it's more fresh, player.
It's definitely more fresh. The Detroit game, that was the one, the controversial call.
Yeah.
So, what I mean? Like, it was happy to get the win, but being realistic, it was like, all right, we really shouldn't have. You know what I mean? Like, they had the lead and they would have had a fast break or you know what I mean? At least a solid possession if that bad call. So that was like a bummer. And then the other two games were straight losses. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy we got this win. We needed this win. It was desperation time. You know what I mean? It was like you noted earlier, or a game and a half, or a game out of the play in, which we don't want to be there. You know what I mean? Who's right behind us? I think they would have taken the lead. You know what I mean? So we would have dropped from 4 to 5 off jump.
Right.
But everybody's right behind us. So we you know what I mean? We had to stop this bleeding and right the ship. We got the good news that our guys are on their way back. You know what I mean? They cleared for basketball drills and all that. So yeah, I'm hoping we get them all Sunday. I hope we get them all back Sunday. That'd be a nice. Hey, Andy might be the good luck charm. That's all I'm gonna say.
You think it's gonna be that soon? Like for OG, I'm hearing the middle of March. But I would be stoked if it was Sunday.
That's what I'm hoping for. I'm trying to put it in the air. I'm trying to speak it to existence.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Oh, as far as standout, like you could say Tibs for the week. You know what I mean? Like he's even though we've you know what I mean, we only got this. Well, we 2-1, should be 1-3. I mean, we're 2-2, should be 1-3. But I think whether it's by necessity because he's been forced to, but Tibbs has adjusted. You know what I mean? Tibbs is giving guys leeway. Like even like the short lease he had with Precious, and now look at Precious. Like I mentioned earlier, he's leading the league in minutes since OG and Randall went down.
Yep. And with Burks, the short lease with
Yeah,
Burks as
the
well.
shortly, the short. You know what I mean? Like this is a guy that we know what Tibbs will do when he trusts you, but he's
Mhm.
seeing like, hey, this guy don't got it right now. You know what I mean? Let me shorten his dose. You know what I mean? Like so, it's. I'll go with Tibbs and DiVincenzo because DiVincenzo, I mean, it's been more than just a week, but he's been holding it down too as our number two alongside Brunson when we got all these injuries going. Um,
Shout
and
out to
he don't hesitate.
Jerry Fitz. Sorry, Ty, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You good?
Tomorrow makes 16 games Randall's has missed. You're allowed 17 and still be able to get all NBA, a moneymaker. Randall back Friday. Oh man, we shall see. We shall see. Um, yeah. Let me see where I want to go from here. Let's go with I got questions. I have so many questions tonight. So I'm liking this all-star panel right here. Thoughts on Josh Hart? He stepped up as of late. Three triple doubles this season, 19 rebounds last night. I think he had 18 rebounds. If it wasn't against Golden State in one of those games, he got like 18 rebounds. Do you think we were unfair in our early criticism of him? Or do you think, nah, we were fair? He's just taking it to another level. Tony, we'll start with you, Ajay, and then Jeff.
I think a lot of y'all was unfair to Josh Hart. Oh, now I have my moments. You know what I mean? Basically, just hoping the shooting turned around more than anything else, considering how he came to us and how hot he was. Now, granted, we all knew that wasn't sustainable, but I thought he would balance out into like the league average, or at least even suffice that his normal average. You know what I mean? But he was in a real shooting slump. Um, the majority of this year. The
And
one
maybe
thing that,
even injured.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and that's a huge playing through injury. You know what I mean? Obviously, he started the year, mm, injured, missed preseason and all that preseason games. And I don't know if he missed games early in the year, but definitely missed preseason and all that due to the Team USA and then throughout the game he had to miss a game here and there, but for the same reason every time that
Right.
knee sore knee. So yeah, but I mean, and that's part of the what I was about to say. The thing I love about him is he's just no pun intended or pun intended, he's all heart. You know what I mean? Like the guy gives it his all every single night, whether it's good tonight or bad tonight. He gave maximum effort. You know what I mean? And the other thing that I absolutely love about him is he holds himself accountable. So everything that everybody says about him, he'll be the first one to be like, true, true. You know what I mean? Played like crap. I haven't shot the ball. You know what I mean? Like I can't hit nothing this year. Like he's been on record saying these things. So it's not like he's naive in it.
Mhm.
So and if you know his work ethic, he's putting in the time. So it's only a matter of time before it turns around.
Yeah. No doubt about it. Do you and when it comes around to Ajay and Jeff, you can add this to your answer. You're right that a lot of what Josh Hart does doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but is that an excuse for him? Like, do you see him as an ultimate energy player where you're okay with it not translating to stats at all? Or do you feel like, yeah, he needs to put up some stats, but I understand that all of his value is not going to be, um, contained in his stats?
So I'll say this. Everything I know about Josh Hart is only from his time here. You know what I mean? Like, and then the games he played against the Knicks. You know what I mean? So I barely even know about him from Villanova, to be honest. You know what I mean? And I remember Brunson in Villanova. I remember DiVincenzo in Villanova. Josh Hart, I really don't remember. He was in the first championship, right? Not the second. Maybe I didn't see that one. But no, I think number one, rebounding is expectation there. Like, so are you talking about stats in general or just points when you say stats?
Stats.
Yeah,
Do you think
yeah,
he
no,
should
no,
stay? Yeah.
yeah. So, I'm expecting a minimum of 6 rebounds on a given night, knowing he's capable of giving you 14 here. You know what I mean? 16 here, so some crazy number. But I'm expecting a minimum of 6. Even points, I'm expecting again a minimum of 6. Like, that's not asking much. You know what I mean? If and that's with your 3 not falling. You know what I mean? If you got 6, I mean, to me that means you ain't hit a 3. You know what I mean? But I know you know how to find your spot where he can, which he can do, and he knows how to attack the paint off of a rebound. You know what I mean? And create a transition hoop. And then if you're not doing that, like, his thing is like what Tip says, he impacts winning. So if the stats are empty, but I could watch the game and pinpoint where he impacted winning, whether it's a loose ball, whether it's a, you know what I mean, a steal, whatever it is. So in that case, empty stats are okay when we win. You know what I mean? Because I could pinpoint him impacting winning the game, and it doesn't have to be with something that ends up on the stat sheet. But in a loss, you know what I mean, I'm expecting some more, some extra stuff, so I can't talk about you. You know, you know what I mean. But I recognize impacting winning. That's the point of what I'm trying to say, though.
Okay. Um, Ajay, do you think we were unfair in our early criticisms of him? And in terms of expectations, is it just what you see on the court, or do you also expect him to put up some stats?
So the answer to the first part of the question is no. We were not unfair. We were right on, and he's playing like crap. So we called it out as we see it. Okay, and especially when he came in hot last year, and I don't care what he was in Portland or wherever he was for, whatever other team he was. And Tony said he don't remember him. He only remembers him from the game he played against us. I don't even remember him from the games he played against us. I don't remember him at all. So when he came in last season, what I saw last season is what I expected at the minimum this year, and I expected him to get better. The same way, DiVincenzo. Actually, I've seen DiVincenzo played, and I expected him to be what he was, or even get better, this year, because he's obviously in the league longer. You could tell that it's a player. He's a player who's getting better, who haven't, at least at the last couple of years, he hasn't reached his peak yet. Because he was injured when he was with Milwaukee, and he didn't get like a ton of playing times in Golden State. You're like, this guy, he's got a little something. He just need the opportunity to show it. So no, I don't think we were too harsh on Josh Hart. The same way I don't think we're too harsh on Alec Burks. If next month he start balling out, we could be like, okay, maybe he's been watching the show. Maybe he knew what to do. You know what I'm saying? But no, we're not being harsh on them. They're getting paid all this money, and we're we're suffering fans. We expect them to leave it out on the floor, and that's what we expect, and that's what we want to see. If we don't see that, we criticize them. We just point out what we see.
Let me ask you this though, in terms of the criticism of Hart, was it that he wasn't showing up statistically, but he was still doing all of the little things, or you felt like he wasn't even doing the things that don't show up in the stats?
A little bit of both, mostly statistically, but some games earlier this season he didn't do the hustle plays. Like, he was out there on the court doing a lot of movements. Like he was moving a lot, but there was nothing happening. Do you know what I'm saying? And one thing I complained to you about a lot is he's passing up too many shots to the point where it's a disadvantage to the team when on defense, like it's 5 against 4. Now you allow there's one guy always available to double team either Julius Randle or Jalen Brunson because they weren't paying him any mind. Listen, I don't care if they drop. I don't care if you shoot the ball. If you're wide open, you got to shoot it because it's gonna go in. Because the defense they'll play you if it goes in sometime, but they won't play you if you don't even take the shot. Yep. Do you know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's one criticism I had. I've been complaining all season about that. He needs to take he still does, by the way. He still passes on those shots. And he really needs to shoot the ball when he's wide open. Case in point, yesterday, when that big 3 he hit, I think he almost passed out. He almost passed it. He couldn't find anybody pass the ball. So he's like, you know what? I have to take this one because there's nobody in the area. So he had to take the shot and he hit it. So no, I don't think we were harsh, and I think we were right on with our criticism of Josh Hart. He needs to step it up. We expect him to. Maybe he's spoilers. I don't know, but bottom line is he needs to step it up.
What do you think he has over the past week or so?
He has actually since Julius Randle's been out. I think he's been, he's been putting up the effort, guarding guys who are almost, probably got a foot on him. He's been trying to check him. He's been doing what he's supposed to do. But the thing with him passing up shots is that still remains. He really needs to shoot the ball. If he's got to be in the gym, 2-3 o'clock in the morning, getting his shots up, he needs to do that. Like you got to win the games. You got to do all the little things, but in the end, you got to put the ball in the hoop. You got to put the ball in the basket. That's how you win games. That's one of the major ways you win games. Okay, so he needs to get that done. Yeah. So yeah, he's been stepping it up, and it is what
I think part of it though is also, well, never mind. I retract my thought.
Before we get on to Jeff, what I would add though is you have to score in a way that's you. He's not a really good 3-point shooter. I don't know if I want him out there, Jack. He might be open for a reason. They might be leaving him open for a reason. And he out there taking 9 3-pointers because he had that opportunity. That might not bode well for us. So, you can look at it. I hear what you're saying that, you can't pass up those shots. It really hurts our offense. But another way you can look at it is, if you take 9 3-pointers, you're messing up our offense too, because you're not a shooter. So I'm not quite sure what the answer is. But
Queen, it depends on the lineup you have out there, right? I mean, listen, we're short. Like we're missing our starting lineup except for DiVincenzo, right? If the shot clock is running down, you're like 5 seconds left and it's either you take the shot or you pass it to Jericho Sims, who's on the perimeter.
Right.
You got to take that shot.
Right. No,
because you hand the ball over to Jericho Sims. It's a shot clock violation.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got to take that shot. You got to be able to recognize that you have a better percentage of the ball going in than Jericho Sims.
Than he does of shooting it.
Right.
And even getting it up. Yeah. Jeff, your thoughts on Josh Hart? Were we unfair with our early criticism of him? And just are you it doesn't matter whether what he does shows up in the stats, we know who he is, or do you feel like we need a little bit of both?
I agree with Ajay in the fact that we were right in criticizing him early in the year. He wasn't playing well. So from that standpoint, I think if a guy's not playing well, any criticism that he receives is valid. I don't know if there's any credence to this or not, but at the beginning of the year, I felt like we had like 6 guys for 4 spots. And I kind of feel like all of those guys were kind of pressing a little bit. to try and make sure that they got their minutes. And now we're just so shorthanded. He's not having to look over his shoulder or worry about anything. Look, dude, you're out there all 40 plus minutes. He didn't have to worry about that. So all he has to do is worry about going out there and playing. And I think there's something to that. I think that affected Quentin Grimes. I think it affected Emmanuel quickly. And I think it affected RJ Barrett for a little bit too. So I think that dynamic was there a little bit, that everybody was kind of pushing and jockeying for time, and maybe trying to do stuff that they're not necessarily comfortable with, or trying to do too much instead of just kind of staying within their role. But my favorite Josh Hart moment was he helped Spida tuck in that chain from the bench after he hit that three the other night. That was pretty clutch. I like that. Did y'all see that?
Yes, we did. We did. All right. The mic is a little better, Jeff. Still a little shaky, but better than it was, but still a little staticky. But we're gonna work with it because we're gonna do our best to work with it. All right. Maybe let's go to DiVincenzo.
Real quick, Queen. Yes. I just want to say, coming into becoming a Knick, I think Josh Hart's confidence was probably at an all-time high, and I think at a certain point this year, uncharacteristically, he probably was at had some confident issues. You know what I mean? Because I think early on, even though he was shooting bad, he was taking those shots. But then at some point, as the season went on, he definitely started turning them down noticeably. You know what I mean? Like, right. And like Clyde told me and Sim, that's 90% right there, confidence.
Yeah, no doubt. Anthony D is pointing out Josh Hart's injury, to his knee, and that he's gutting it out and giving us what he has. No doubt, Josh Hart is one of my favorite players on the team. He's playing, but he wasn't playing well. Whether it was due to an injury or not, he just wasn't the Josh Hart I was accustomed to seeing, and there may have been reasons for it. I'm not arguing that. What we're seeing from him now, obviously when players come back, we're not going to see this, but him stepping up and basically being the heartbeat of this team while those players are out is just phenomenal. But I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. All right, let's move on to DiVincenzo, and shout out to Ron and still Knick fans who gave me this question. Now, I had the first part of the question anyway, and that was, have we seen enough of DiVincenzo to say he is a starting shooting guard in this league? There are some people who still think he's a role player, and you can be a role player and a starter, But what I'm hearing is, he's a fill-in. He's not really a starting shooting guard in this league. He's a fill-in. Just like with Hart, people still see him as a fill-in and don't really see Hart as a starting shooter in this league. But and you can comment on that as well. But what Ron added to the conversation about DiVincenzo, whether or not he's a starter or not, is he a system player? Like, is he a player who thrives in a particular system, which to me is not, a bad thing, but that kind of says that if he's not in if he's in a different system, he wouldn't be as good. I don't know what system doesn't need shooters though, but let's start with Ajay, Jeff, Tony. Try to mix it up a little bit. Ajay, is DiVincenzo a starting shooting guard in this league, or is he just a fill-in your opinion?
I think he's a starting shooting guard in this league, and I don't understand that. Maybe he's just a system player. I don't. That doesn't make any sense to me. What does that mean? Like, maybe he's a system player, but if he found the right system for him that he fits perfectly, then yeah, he's a starting two guard for, could it be for that system, but that system is part of the league. So he is a starting shooting guard in that system, in that league. And I don't even understand why they say that, because this is not his first team. He played on two other teams, and he was a very good player on those teams. Yeah, he didn't start, but you got to look at who was in front of him, right?
He started on Milwaukee, though, I believe.
No, I thought
Nope.
what's his name was in front of him.
He started
He started.
the year they won the championship. He started every game until he got hurt.
He got hurt. Yeah, that's right. He got hurt in Milwaukee. Yeah, but in Golden State, who was in front of him? You know what I'm saying? So it's not that he's
Klay
not.
Thompson.
Yeah, he's out. Klay Thompson's in front of you. Like, that's a little tough. That's a little tough to compete. That's a little tough to get that spot. You know what I'm saying? So yes, he's a starting two guard in this league. So I'm not sure what they're talking about.
Yeah,
I don't think he's a fill-in. And if by fill-in you mean like if somebody else comes along, would it be better? Like, if in that case, then anybody's a fill-in, because Julius Randle is a fill-in, because if Giannis becomes available, you get rid of him. But is he a starting power forward in this league? Oh, hell yeah. Same thing with Mitch Robb. Same thing with all the other guys.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, I don't get it.
Before I get to Jeff, let me just get to the chat and see what they're saying. Trish D33 LGK, let's go Knicks. Appreciate you rocking with us. He is a starter here because of his chemistry with Jalen. Mark S. No, I still think he is a good 6-man. Plug in and give him the green light against team's second unit. Listen, I mean, but Mac S, are you saying you think you would get more out of him as a 6-man? Because we can say that about a lot of starters, right? If you put them in the second unit, they're going to shine even brighter because they're going to get more touches. Or are you saying he just doesn't belong in the second unit? Let me know what you think in the chat. Anthony D, he's a system player, all right. All systems go.
That's right.
LOL. Yeah. Let me see. Jerry Fitz, when Randall is back, demanding double teams, Dante, OG, Bojan, JB McBride, Josh Hart, all going to get better looks. Randall may get 10 dimes a game. He might be, and he might look to pass more given the shoulder. We don't know. We'll see when we and this is Jeff, you can add this to your answer. When you say starting two guard, does that mean he plays the closing minutes as well? I think he does. I think DiVincenzo was legit. I think he crossed over this season, and he was already a starter in Milwaukee, and some may argue that was because maybe they didn't have, he was just the best of what they had. To me, if you ain't bringing in Booker, he's the starting two guard on this team. Though,
And
if they bring in Murray, if they decide to bring in Murray,
that's
makes
the thing, Queen, because how many people, there's only a select few people that you could say a person's name and be like, all right, you can put him on any team right now, no matter what team it is, and bam, he's gonna start. So is DiVincenzo that? No. You know what I mean? But there's only about 10 guys of that, you know what I mean? Maybe that it don't matter what team you put them on and drop, they're gonna start. You gotta move somebody over because he's starting. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. But there's 30 teams. On more teams than that, he'll start.
I mean, let's just look at the top 8 in the Eastern Conference. Would he start for Boston? Probably not. I don't know if he would. I don't know if they would start him over Derek. Derek White.
Probably not. I'll say no.
All right, Milwaukee.
No.
He did it before on the championship team.
Who's running two for Milwaukee?
Dame.
Is Dame, but who's the two? I think that is Beasley
Yeah.
He
I
might
think he.
start.
I think he gets the nod over Beasley.
Playing the way he's playing right now, right?
Yeah.
Third is, I'm sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, he could start Milwaukee.
Yeah, Cleveland. Who's starting
Not if
next to
Garland's
Garland? Nah, Donovan Mitchell. No,
Next to Donovan.
no, Donovan
Oh,
is
you saying next to?
Garland,
Okay.
right? The Knicks. We
No,
already
but would Cleveland play Donovan at the point and DiVincenzo at the two?
Because that's what I was thinking.
I don't think so. I don't think they would play him over Garland.
I don't even.
I mean, it's okay if we. I mean, I don't think so, but then we have. I don't even know who's in fifth place, but I'll just say Miami. Would he start at 2 in Miami?
I think you can make the argument that he's a better defender than they're starting to.
Hero, we talking about?
Yeah, and he might give you the same production. So offensive production.
I was about to. I was going to ask who's the two for Miami. Who they picked up from the corner store and played two for Miami.
Hero. I think I skipped over Philly. Would he start for
He
Philly?
hasn't played though, Tyler Hero. He
has
isn't he out?
He's out now. He recently got injured, but he's played.
So who's starting at the two now? Like who? Which unknown
The
they
two.
got?
Rozier is playing the 1, and Hero is playing the 2. Terry Rozier.
But now he's not in. So that other kid, that Jaime kid, is playing the 2.
Maybe I haven't looked at their roster in a while, but I'm talking about healthy when healthy. Philadelphia.
Who's their backcourt? They got Maxey and who?
Well, right now it's what's the name starting with Maxey?
Who's that?
Kalari?
Yeah, they just promoted him.
So now he's playing the 1, and they moving Maxey to the 2. So no, he would not play over Maxey. And I don't think he would. I don't think they would go with him and Mac. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they might go with him and Maxey. I don't
Over
know.
Larry, I think they might. Politics aside.
Politics aside, maybe. Maxey would go back to being on the ball, and DiVincenzo at the 2. Okay.
I think they would prefer to have Kalari come off the bench.
Okay. So we're saying that he would start for Philadelphia. I don't know where the standings are, so I'm just gonna pick Orlando and Indiana. We'll just go to those 2.
They just got rid of Heel. Who'd they get? They
Neesmith,
promoted Max Mather. Say it again.
I think it's Neesmith.
Oh,
playing
he's starting.
The Pacers.
The Pacers, I'm talking. Yeah.
He start. Oh, I thought they promoted Mathurin.
I think he played a little bit, but then I think he went back to the bench.
I think Devo gets a shot.
Oh, thank you, Michael Sharon. Buddy Hield is in Philly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He got traded.
With Devo start over Buddy Hield.
Defensively, you remember you give them. So that's the way I'm looking at it. How much more points is Hield guaranteeing you over DiVincenzo? Maybe 5, if you know what I mean. Maybe, but defensively, DiVincenzo is going to give you a whole lot more than Buddy Hield. I start him.
I would too.
Okay. Orlando and Indiana, would you start him over Neesmith? Neesmith is a really good defensive player. He's a hound on the defensive end. I'm not sure what he's shooting. He could shoot as well. I'm not sure what his percentages are. So it might be a toss up in Indy, and we're talking about the way he's playing right now this season, and then Orlando. I don't even
Probably-
know. I think
probably
they're going with
Orlando.
Black.
Yeah, I like that young boy.
Yeah.
They'll probably bank on his future over DiVincenzo.
Right. But if you're trying to win games, though,
That's a good point.
you
Hey,
know, I
sit
mean,
down and learn, young fella.
yeah, I mean, he would still play. I mean, so like we've gone through the playoff teams in the Eastern Conference, and he would play on what 6 out of the 8. I mean, he would start on what 5 out of the 8, 6 out of the 8. I think he's bona fide at this point. Jeff, your take on DiVincenzo, if he's a starter in this league or just a fill-in, or do you think he's I don't know what a system. I mean, the system is anybody can use a shooter, in my opinion, but you could comment on that as well.
He's a starting caliber player. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Are there upgrades in the league? Are there better twos in the league? Sure, but that doesn't mean that he's not a starting caliber player. Does he hurt you at being in the lineup down the stretch of a close game? I don't think so. He makes a lot of shots, and the good thing about him is he doesn't command a lot of shots. So if he's not getting the ball a whole bunch, he's okay with that, and he can help you in other ways. I mean, he's really good with playing the passing lanes and getting steals. And when he played with OG, especially. So, yeah, I think he's a starter. I think it's kind of a silly question, but I mean, he's playing the starting two guard for us, and he's playing well. So, and we're a top 4 team in the East, top 5 team in the East. So, I mean, I think that answers the question right there, but maybe not.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. He's, in my opinion, he's a bona fide starter in this league, and there's a few players that I would bring in, you know, to take that spot. Murray might be one of them, but I definitely understand the pushback.
You can always upgrade. I mean, there's very few players that can't be upgraded, like Ajay said.
Yeah.
But just because there are players you can upgrade to doesn't mean that he's not a starting caliber player. I mean, I think that's two different things.
Yeah. No doubt. Thoughts on Shake Milton? And I meant to talk about him when we were talking about McBride. McBride has been playing really well as of late. Running the team, he's gotten better. Still some hiccups, but he's gotten better, I think, in terms of running the offense. The defense is still solid. Listen, people will say that he has some defensive lapses or is not as great. Listen, you can be locked down in 6 minutes a game. But when you out there and you have to run around on offense for 47 minutes and you have to shoot and you have to run the offense, that's a little different. We used to marvel at Mitchell Robinson his first year when he would block a shot and run down the court and get the pass for the dunk, or block a 3-point shot, run down the court, okay. When he started playing more minutes, we ain't really see a lot of that activity. Like that's easy to do when you're playing 16 minutes a game. And I think it's the same for McBride now. His role is expanded. His defense is still really good, even if it's not shut down on every possession. He's hitting his threes, but also he's getting his shot off the dribble, which was his forte in college at West Virginia. That was his bread and butter, getting in the lane and getting his shot off. Obviously, players are bigger, stronger, faster. So, it took some time to translate. I still, we haven't seen him in the playoffs, but I'm okay with McBride now because of all of the options we've brought in. So I don't feel like we're, it's McBride or bust now. You know, if he plays well, he plays. If he doesn't, you know, we have other options. But with the Shake Milton, what do you make of that? Do you think that was because I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna bring in somebody, can you if it's not a bona fide point guard, can you bring in another center? Then you bring in
Well,
another shooting guard who has played point before. Don't get me wrong. Do you think that's because of McBride's lack of playoff experience? Do you think that's because Burks hasn't been playing well, or do you think it's just about you can never have enough guards
I think it's a combination.
on this team? You can never have enough guards.
It's a combination of all that. One thing you did not mention is he's CAA.
Okay.
So I think that had that made it a lot easier decision. Um, at the price, it's nothing to lose.
Mhm.
I think the Knicks had to get weren't they a man short for
They were.
They were, but they could have got that from the G League if they
I
wanted
mean
to,
true that,
or
but
sign Taj for the
true,
rest of the
true that too. But one thing we do know about whether it's Leon or I'm a credit Leon for this
season.
is they know how to take care of players, right? And when I say take care of, I don't even mean like long term Knicks. You know what I mean? But they give these guys these opportunities. You know what I mean? It's obviously a minimal contract. Um, and I mean, like you said, he is talented.
Oh, I like him. When I saw it, I was super excited because I've seen him play in Philly when they were really injured and they didn't really have and they was playing him at point. And I don't believe he's a point guard. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but he played it okay. You know, he played it okay, and he had some really good games scoring wise and shooting the three. So, and he's I believe he's a solid, if not above average defender. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. So,
He
I
is.
like the signing, but what is that? What do you make of the signing?
Queen, can I, before we make up the signing, can I start a little conspiracy theory here?
Or
I think it was a setup, man. I think it was a trade like that under the radar trade. Like they let him go, just buy him out just so he could come to the Knicks without the consequences of a trade. Detroit kind of let him go. You know, talk to CAA, say, listen, let's do a little deal under the table. Pretend we buying this guy out. Who knows? Maybe the Knicks give him a little money for the buyout.
Well, the reports were where'd he come from? Minnesota?
initially, but I believe they traded
Yeah,
him to Detroit. So the
yeah.
buyout was from Detroit.
But the
Right.
reports were the Knicks had interest in trading for him when he was on Minnesota.
They did
So
inquire.
so so once you know once he got bought out, that becomes a no brainer as well, right? If I was gonna give up whatever the minimal asset it was to acquire this guy, and now I could get him without giving up a single asset, it's kind of a no brainer. And I think he had options. That's what makes it interesting.
That's maybe where the CAA connection
That's what the
comes in.
CAA comes in. That was part of the
Bu-
the little
But but
under
the
the
op-
table.
but the options, if you have the options, not just to see it, that the CAA may have made it happen, but he still chose us. You know what I'm saying? If he had options, he still chose us. So I don't know what that means for as far as role, you know what I mean? And you know what I mean? He may have had a more defined role somewhere else. I don't know. I'm less familiar with him and what he's gonna bring.
Right.
I do know Deuce said he ain't taking my spot.
He's not. He's probably not going to be taking Deuce's spot. Like you said, it's probably going to be if Burks keeps stinging up the joint, he's going to be taking Burks minutes. Plain and simple.
I think he's just another player, and then we'll get to Jeff. I think he's just another player in the pot come playoff time. because we could sit here and say, oh, McBride is definitely in the rotation. He's going to play. Listen, if McBride stink it up and if he's overwhelmed, he ain't playing that game. It might be Burks. Burks knocked down a couple of shots. It's going to be him. I don't think Tibs is going to be like, this is my 9. I hope he doesn't throughout the entire playoffs. This is my 9 this game. You know what I mean? And I'm hoping that it shifts.
Queen, sounds like you're saying it ain't going to be a 9-man rotation.
No, I think it will.
It sounds like what you're saying.
No.
11-man rotation.
No, I don't think so. But I think it's going to be different guys in that 9-man rotation. I don't think it's going to be the same guys every game or every series.
9 guys going to play every night, but it may not be the same 9 guys. I think is what she's saying.
Yes, correct. Your thoughts? Jeff is looking. But you know what I did, Jeff? I removed every setting from your mic, and it sounded a little better. So maybe that was it.
Wait, Queen. So Jeff was getting tomatoes out there in the chat. That was you?
Well,
that was your fault.
Listen, I had the settings on the settings that I have for everybody: echo cancellation, reduce mic bracket. Let me just see something. All right, talk, Jeff.
Okay, I'm confused about this Shake Milton business. He doesn't look like he's a point guard to me. So if he's not a point guard, and it doesn't look like that. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it just his numbers. I haven't seen a lot of them, but it doesn't look like that's what he is. And so he seems like he's a duplication of Burks and McBride to me. And if that's the case, that kind of seems like a waste to me. Now, I'll admit, I don't know much about his game. So maybe I'm, and the stats don't tell the whole story. I know about that. But yeah, I'm confused by the whole Shake Milton signing. I would have rather, if we're going to bring somebody in, bring someone in who is a 1. I don't know. Maybe maybe it's just ignorance on my part, and if it is, I apologize. But where are the minutes for him to play? Are you just gonna sell on what Burks is now and just give him the Fournier treatment? That's possible, I guess. But Burks was always a Tibs guy. Is Melton a Tibs kind of player? I don't know. He's certainly going to have to prove that, I would think, before. We know how Tibs is. If he doesn't trust you, he's not going to play you. So
I would think Tibs had his hand over this.
But too, Jeff, you saying bring in a 1? Like, where are we going to find that 1? If you can't find a 1, but you could get a guard who can bring up the ball. I mean, he's not a prototypical point guard, but he could bring up the ball. He could distribute a little bit.
He played one for Philly when they were really
he
hurt.
played one off the bench. Listen,
yeah.
He's not he's not a top point guard, but if you can't find, where are you going to find that backup point guard? Like, there's nobody out there. So you might as well get a Tibs guy, somebody who might get some minutes, I think.
Okay, I don't think he's going to get minutes personally, but okay.
I think so. And if he does,
the season or the playoffs or both.
Either.
Well, right now, he's obviously going to get minutes right now because of the injuries or whatever we got going on. Even though we're okay at the we're okay at the guard position, but like I said, if Alec Burks is not coming through, I think he's going to get minutes.
Yeah, Burks better pony up. Yeah. You guys have to watch Shake Milton. He's a really good he's not a scrub. He's right on the level of Burks, and some would say he's better. Some would prefer Shake Milton over Burks. We shall see.
And if they're gonna keep someone like one of them too beyond this season, it's gonna be Shake Milton because of his age. Like, he's right on par with the rest of the all these other guys that are hitting their prime right now. So
yeah. Yeah, I think it was just Jeff with his mic because I put the settings back on that everybody else has, and he still sounds fine. So, like, maybe what Ajay was saying, he's been away for a few weeks. The mic was rusty. The more he talked, and just got it, and now he sounds good.
Sorry about that, y'all.
All right,
I don't know
shout
what
out
it's
to
doing.
Jay Tap, man, one of my Patreons. I appreciate you, Jay. I don't think he's gonna play much either. Okay, all right. Mike Sharon, Shake is in his prime, only 27 years old, like Brunson. Old head, appreciate you. Shake can be viewed as a combo guard that can play either position. He played either position for Philly, and he played well. And the only reason I say is because I'm a fan. I play fantasy basketball, so when he played in Philly, I picked him up off the waiver wire when they had the injuries, and he played well, and he contributed in multiple um, categories. Anthony D, he's not getting minutes only because of injury. Anthony D, you don't think he's gonna get minutes over Burks? He might. He might. And I think it's also insurance for um McBride in the playoffs. He's playing well now. We don't know if that's gonna translate to the playoffs. I hope it does. But it doesn't hurt to have that insurance just in case. It doesn't hurt at all. Anybody else with the thoughts on Shake?
Does Shake have any playoff experience?
Yep,
With
he
Philly,
does. He does.
What are his postseason numbers look like?
Oh, I don't know about that, but games played, he got a good amount. He might end up having the most on the team.
But I don't know if
I'm
we're
trying
looking
to
for him
think.
to score points. I don't know if it's more about that. It's more about the lights not being bright,
Mm-hmm.
too bright for you. That
Mm-hmm.
so that you're bringing the ball up, you're not turning it over. You're taking shots within the flow of the offense. You don't look tepid, like timid. I think it's more that these are role players. I don't know.
Well, I'm
You
not
know,
looking for him to be a 12-point a game guy. That's not what I'm saying. But what I was more saying is if he's been in the playoffs for 20 games, but he's only played 20 minutes, then he's in the same
oh,
boat as Deuce. If he's been in the playoffs and he's been in 20 games and he's averaged 10 minutes a game or 15 minutes a game, then those are two different categories of exposure in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? If all you did was sit on the bench and wave a towel while your team was out there, that doesn't really
right.
do much. But I'm not saying that's what he did. I have no clue. I'm just saying that's why I was wondering. Well, how many games has he been in? How many minutes has he played per game? I'm not overly worried. I'm not worried about his scoring or anything. He didn't look like a playmaker from his stat sheet to me. So I was just kind of like, well, that's interesting. He just seems like a duplication of what we already have. But again, that could be completely off base. I don't know much about it.
Yeah, he might be, but again, you want to have as many players as you can in the playoffs because for some, and he could be one of them. He could be one of them. The bright lights of the playoffs can take out a player or two on your roster.
No doubt.
It can. So let's see. Let's see.
Did y'all see what Trey Young's dad said about the Shake Milton going to the Knicks?
Yes. Can you read that? I did
Yeah,
see that.
there you see.
Do you have it?
I have it. Give me 2 seconds. I was just looking at it. He said, "Oh yeah, I got it." He said, "What the hell, man? Seriously, how many good players do the Knicks need? This is a great signing. Shake Milton can hoop. He's a perfect role player for what a lot of teams need right now. So he's that bothers him, or I guess that bothers him."
Yeah, I wanted to see. So he's played 34 playoff games. He started 4, and minutes per game is 12.5. So it probably would be lower, right? Without the 4 that he started. In the playoffs, he's averaged 5 points, 1.3 rebounds, shot 86% from the free throw line. Didn't go a lot though. Shot oh, that was the effective field goal. Only what's the total field goal percentage? Just 42.5% from the field. And from three, 43% from three. In the playoffs. That's not bad. 34 games, 12 and a half minutes, 4 starts, 5 points a game, 40 something percent from three. I mean, that's okay for a role player, I think. What do you guys think?
That's better than I expected. That's not bad at all. I mean, because that's really the role that you would have him play. I would think if he's going to play, putting him in behind Brunson for about 8 to 10 minutes, and go out there, make a couple threes, yeah, that okay. That I'm good with that.
Listen, if he gets the time, if he gets the playing time here, he's gonna, just like Precious Achua. You look at Achua's stats before the Knicks and his stats now, it's a huge difference. He's getting a lot more playing time. You play these guys. I know Shake Milton's been in the league a minute, but he really, sometimes you got to find your spot. Sometimes you got to find where you fit, and he's 27 years old. So he's coming into his prime right now. We're going to get some good, if he gets minutes, if Tibs play him, and if we keep him, it's going to be a good deal. It's a good acquisition.
What I'm interested in seeing is, can he play backup one a little bit? Like, I don't think we need him to be Mike Conley or Lowry or whatever, but can he run an NBA offense? Can he run a pick and roll? Can he initiate the offense? Like, if he's decent in that area, then that allows Deuce to play off the ball. If he can do that. I think when you have Burks at the 1 and Deuce at the 2, Burks, I don't know what he's doing out there. I don't know if it's going to take him some time, but I don't get the sense that he's running the offense. He's having a hard time figuring out when to run the offense, when to take his shot. He looks really discombobulated out there. And Deuce is still finding his spots, but Deuce might even be that much better if there was somebody who can run an offense. And Deuce has looked better on the ball himself. Would you guys agree, or you feel like not yet in terms of running the offense?
I don't know if he's necessarily running the offense. The great thing about Deuce is he don't turn the ball over. So he's not a detriment to the offense. What I really love about Deuce right now is he's finding his spots. He's figuring out how to get to his spots. And now he's pulling up mid-range, three-pointer, like wherever it is that he gets to his the destination he's trying to get to. Or maybe it's not. Maybe he can't get to where he's trying to get to. But now he's rising. You know what I mean? When he gets to these spots or when he gets stuck. So to me, it's just a slow evolution. I love it.
But but everything you've talked about though is off ball. Do you feel like he's gotten better running the point on the second team? Because if Milton can play the 1 and Deuce is playing the 2, to me that bodes well for us. But some believe that Deuce is doing a really good job in terms of when he's on the ball.
I don't think he's run. That's what I'm saying. I don't think he's running the point any better. I think the fact that he doesn't turn the ball over, it justifies him still being able to, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Be in that position. But even when it's when he's on the floor, it's still usually by committee. You know what I mean? He's not the the primary for the most part. It's alongside of whomever he's sharing the court with, the duties.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Anybody else in terms of seeing Deuce evolution? If you feel like he's gotten better um, when he has the ball in his hands on that second unit. I mean, that's not a running a point.
I haven't seen a ton of it. I don't know. I did like the one-handed crossover,
Yes, I did.
but no, I mean, I don't know. I love Deuce. I don't think he's a point guard. I've been saying that for a long time, and I kind of am gonna stick with that. I do think he's improved there, and but I just don't see him as a playmaker. I just don't think it's a strength, and that's fine. I don't think he has to be for him to be a rotation player in the playoffs for us, given everything else that he does.
Yeah, shout out to Old Head, and I know Sherwin, who I don't see in the chat. He may be listening. Said the same thing. Burks is a scorer that looks to shoot first, but this is the main point. Our offense doesn't require a traditional point guard. Anyone can bring the ball up the court, and I would add initiate the offense. Thoughts on that?
I agree. I mean, I don't know if it's our offense. I think it's the guys we have that it has to be by committee when Brunson's not. You know what I mean? Brunson's not on the floor. But I agree. We have multiple guys that are more than capable of bringing the ball up and initiating the offense on any given possession. Well, you know what I mean? Whether that's Hart, whether that's Deuce, whether that's Burks, whether that's Bogey, especially I'm referring to non-starters, but yeah, all these guys could bring the ball up in a pinch.
Is there a difference though between bringing the ball up and initiating our offense? Because I agree that we run this read and react offense. So I'm not just talking about bringing it up.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody could initiate the offense, and you see Deuce do it. You see Deuce will bring the ball up, pass it to the right, cut to the left, come around the screen, get the ball back for either a shot or or dribble in the lane. I just feel like when Burks has it in his hands, we don't get none of that. It's just
I agree with that, but I also maybe I misspoke, and maybe it is the offense, because I think Tibbs wants you to push the ball. You know what I mean? So whomever, look ahead, try to get the defense off balance while you're attacking first. You know what I mean? So that's why so many different guys have the green light, if you will, to initiate the initial offense, because they're trying to outrun the defense, catch them off guard. Now, when it comes to okay, we couldn't get that fast break, or we couldn't get that catch them off guard, that's when it gets tricky, when it does have to slow down. So and at that point, it still becomes read and react, but I think Deuce will have the ball less in that situation. You know what I mean? Now it becomes maybe Burks or Bogey or somebody else initiating in the half court. Hartenstein. You know what I mean? Now we're running sets.
Yeah,
so I agree. It is the offense. It's the way Tibbs has designed that. Push,
and that anybody could initiate it. I like that McBride is not pounding the ball a lot before he initiates the offense. I love that. But we just got to get Burks to initiate the offense. I just feel like he just comes down and dribbles with like no plan. Like
I got a question for you. I have my answer. I just want to see what you think. If there's one person that Deuce seems to have a chemistry for playmaking with, who would it be?
Playmaking?
Because to me, the only
shots for?
Yes.
I don't see that a lot.
Okay,
I've seen some.
What's the question? I'm sorry. What's the question, Tony?
I'll just give my statement. The only person I see Deuce playmaking and having like a chemistry with, where it's like pick and roll, where he's initiating an offensive set, is with Sims. And to me, that's just from the familiarity in the G League of running those sets and playing that type of game together. To me, his role with Sims in the G League allows him to build that chemistry with Sims. Everybody else he plays with, you know what I mean, with the real Knicks, his role was different. So he's still kind of figuring out his role, you know what I mean, here. You know what I mean? It was almost like, don't make a mistake. You know what I mean? Don't turn the ball over, and don't be a liability while you're out there. Like it's but in that role, he's getting better. You know what I mean? Like he's producing more. He's getting more confident. He's figuring out where he could impact the game.
I guess to answer your
you
question, I
game
think
interview.
no. I think that he and Hartenstein actually have a pretty good connection. I like that. It seems like when they're on the floor together, there isn't a ton of minutes, but I feel like that they tend to find each other both ways. He'll find him for a lob, and then Hartenstein will find him for a nice cut. I think those two have a good on-court connection like that too, Tony. If you're talking about somebody else that he plays with, that's the only other person I can think of that comes to mind. But it's an interesting point that they're both big men. You know what I mean? And so, and both have been backup big men. So maybe he has more experience running pick and rolls and those sorts of things with those two guys. So that's more of his comfort zone. Whereas with some of these other players, he doesn't have that. I mean, some of these players weren't even here, you know, so it's difficult to get that kind of chemistry with for anybody. I mean, Bogdanovich specifically, who I think can be a really good, at least pick and pop player, if not a pick and roll player. We just don't run a whole lot of pick and roll.
Right.
Yeah, we don't.
Right. Wiz, just relax. Deuce is holding back his offensive creativity and ball distribution skills because Tibs has shown his lack of versatility and rigidity.
Come on, Wiz. Come on, man. What is Wiz talking about?
Come
on, man.
Sometimes a player is just limited and getting better. And and getting better,
It sounded well thought out. I'll say that.
Let's talk about Sims for a little bit and the job that we could talk about everybody, right? We could talk about our bigs. Maybe we should put them all together. Sims, Precious, Hart, which looked a more of himself, not 100%, but looked more like himself in the last game. Let's talk about our bigs and what we're seeing from them. How they're playing, whether you like what they're playing, what you would like to see more from them. Am I missing anybody? Achua, Sims, and Precious. I mean, and Hart. That's about it right now, right?
Bogdanovich is sort of a big.
He's playing like
he's
3,
a power.
4. Let's leave him out for now.
We're not getting any defense from him anyway. So,
what are we getting from our bigs? What are you seeing from our bigs as of late?
Well, Sims, I love the way he's been rebounding the ball as of late. Like, I don't remember him rebounding like that. I remember him going up to get rebounds, but now he's like grabbing them and pulling them in, which is like a new thing for me. I don't remember witnessing that. I don't know if you guys noticed that, or that's one thing that has stood out with Sims. Like before, he only went up for him. So if you know what I mean, I'm gonna out jump everybody. Now he's actually reaching, to the side and pulling it to him, which which is phenomenal. I see them looking for him a lot more. So now, certain guys are realizing. I mean, for the most part, it don't got to be a good pass. Just throw it up there. He'll go get it. Um, he missed one last night, but what I mean. It's nice to see them involving him in that aspect. Hartenstein is not much to say. I mean, you can't really say anything negative. He's been phenomenal before the Mitch Robinson injury. He's been even better afterwards. And my only concern is that that reoccurring injury that ailed him last year and only seems to get better with time. With with rest and we we've been squeezing out a little as much rest as we can for him, but we can't really afford it. Like it's telling when both he and Mitchell Robinson are off or are unavailable. It's telling the difference in this team. So as much as I love what Sims brings to be a full-time guy, like God forbid if he had to pull 47 minutes, I don't think it would be as productive or prominent as what Deuce did. But limited minutes and getting this experience, I think he's showing minor growth. What I mean, with each opportunity.
Okay. Anybody else want to comment on our big guys?
Are we adding Precious to that, or
Yes, we're adding Precious to that.
I'm gonna just say Precious has been great.
Go ahead, AJ.
So I want to go back to Jericho Sims a little bit. We've had some great games from Jericho Sims where he comes in, he's a big body in there, very active, grabbing rebounds, impeding everybody's path to the basket, doing whatever he can on defense. But too often, he gets lost in the sauce. He's been with Tibs for I don't know many years now, and there's certain things he should know. There's certain sets he should know. There's certain position he knows to put himself in. But even yesterday, he had a good game yesterday, but a couple of possessions he was like completely lost. Like he had no idea where he was on the court, like in reference to the action. And that's happened. To me, that happened too often with him. And Tibbs, we know, has a very low tolerance for that, and that's probably one of the reasons why he doesn't get playing time if everybody's healthy, is because and listen, other players get lost too, but like Julius Randle get lost, but that's not going to affect his minute because he's Julius Randle. But when you're of Jericho Sims caliber, you need to be more aware of, especially on defense with Thibodeau. He doesn't ask you to score. I'm sure Tibbs don't care that he had 0 points yesterday, but he impacted the game defensively, in the way that he's capable of. And that's all I'm going to say about Sims. But he's been playing great, but too often he gets lost on defense and doesn't know where. Even on offense, sometimes he's actually not so much on offense because they don't ask him to do much on offense except for the occasional cleanup, put back, and set the good picks, which he does. Okay, but on defense, he is expected to play better, more consistently. Some games he's great, and some games he looks like a little distracted. And like Tony said, Precious Achiuwa has been great, and Queen. That's we talked about from day one of Precious Achiuwa.
Yeah.
You
was on board.
I was on board. I said, listen, he's not a scrub. He's not just a throw in. If he has the opportunity, he's gonna show up. He's gonna, and you know what? As luck would have it, or bad luck would have it, Julius Randle went down and he had the opportunity. He shows it. And one dilemma, which I guess is a good problem to have, is, and we were talking about rotation a little while ago, is like, who do you sit when all these guys are playing so well? Like, how do you sit a guy like Precious Achiuwa? How is he not part of your 9-man rotation? How is Deuce not part of your 9-man rotation? You know what I'm saying? If Bogdanovich give us another like 2, 3 20-point games in the next couple of weeks, how is he not part of your 9-man rotation? So it's and now you bring in Shake Milton, who's he can play Shake Milton. So that's Tibbs gonna have to do some real. He's gonna have to show some real management skill or managing skills there with the amount of talent that we have on this team. So
Yeah, no doubt about it. Precious was much better converting his shots. He just seems to me when he gets around the basket, he's just right there, and him finishing hasn't been great, but he looked really good last night finishing. Finishing around the basket. He's an energy guy. I don't think his offense is there. I mean, you could consistently, the offense is not there consistently, but you could see the makings um, of a two-way player. He just hasn't nailed it um, down yet. And right now, you can count on him more so for the defense and the rebounding. Anybody else want to comment on our bigs?
Well, for Sims, he had one of my favorite stat lines: 0 points, plus 17 box plus minus last night. That's really cool. I love it when guys impact the game without putting the ball in the basket. That speaks volumes about the game that he had and the role player that he is. And then Precious, the big sneeze has just grown on me. That guy, every time I watch him play, I just appreciate when Randall went down, he just, we all asked, well, who's going to fill that role? Josh Hart? And not that Precious Achua is Julius Randle. He doesn't have any offensive gravity, but you know what? He plays really solid defense. He's really switchable. He does a lot of really good things. He attacks the basket at times, and you're like, wow, I didn't know he could do that. And I really like what he's done for the Knicks in his time, and he's a warrior. I mean, Tibbs asked him to play 45 minutes. He plays 45 minutes, and he doesn't complain about it. He just goes out there and he plays the best he can, and he keeps us in games. I mean, I wouldn't have thought that possible with Randall going down, and he'll never be Julius Randle, but he's done a good job of impacting the game in other ways where the loss of Randall is not as massive as it is. It's still massive, but he does enough that you can keep the ship afloat, and that's all we've been trying to do is keep this. And we have been. I mean, we're 11 games over 500 with all the injuries that we've had. That's insane.
And clinging to the fourth spot with all of the injuries that we've had. Are we still 4?
yes,
I haven't looked at it today. Okay.
I'm still 4.
Okay. All right.
Philly and Orlando are breathing down our necks. That
Yeah.
Orlando game on Friday is going to be huge.
Well, let me ask this question. This team right now, without Mitch, without OG, without Randall, is this team good enough to win? Because I think a lot of us, and myself included, has been saying, we got all the injuries. What do you expect? Remember, the Knicks only won 4 games in February. We were 4-8. Seeing what we saw against Cleveland, and I get it. Sometimes you can't expect that type of performance game in and game out. Guys are playing out of their position. Do you think this team right now can win games? Or do you feel like this team just has to hold on till we get OG and Randall back?
Wait, who we played tomorrow?
Atlanta.
Our next
Atlanta.
Orlando, and Philly.
Philly.
Our next 3 games.
Orlando, I ain't gonna lie, like they tough. We do not, and I'm not talking about their record. I'm not talking about them being, right behind us. They've been kicking our butt all year, and we don't match up well against them. You know what I mean? Especially at full strength, I feel that'll be a little bit different as far as how we match up.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, depleted, they gonna be a tough out because they have size. They have all big wings. You know what I mean? All across the board. Other than what Cole Anthony,
Yes.
You know what I mean? Who's arguably an undersized two guard, if you will. But yeah, those guys. I don't like that team. I would like for us to have some guys come back, but even with that, it's it's not a guarantee because they got to work their way back. Assuming just them coming back don't mean it's an easy win. So yeah, Orlando's gonna be tough regardless of depleted or not depleted. I think Atlanta, you know, we could beat them missing a couple guys.
We will beat them. I mean, we can. We
The
will.
Knicks got to run the table. I just feel like this team. Maybe this was the crossover. Maybe they crossed over in that Cleveland game, in the sense that yes, we are depleted. Our margin is slim, but everybody has to step on. Yeah, we need 20 from Bojan. Yeah, we need 16 from yeah, we need 18 rebounds from Burks. I mean, excuse me, from Josh Hart and Burks. Can you give us 10? Like, you know, in a way, don't you think we have enough scoring or not really? I mean, I guess not. We're asking guys who usually play off of people to generate looks. So yeah, all right. I guess.
I mean, Brunson out. No, like I'm still shocked. We pulled that game out minus Brunson. You know what I mean? We talk about DiVincenzo. Yeah, sure. Bogdanovich. Okay. Then I would be like, all right, who else? Where the rest of the scoring come from? You know what I mean? With Brunson gone, no Randall. So I would if somebody told me we won, and I didn't look at box scores or anything, and I had to guess, all right, I'd be like, oh, Burks came out of his slump. You know what I mean? But Bogdanovich was hot. DiVincenzo was hot. I would have assumed Burks came out of his slump. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have assumed we got 13 from Hart or the 16 from Deuce. You know what I mean? I wouldn't assume that. So I don't think everybody has to be at their best, but it's gonna have to be different people at different times.
Can we go 3-0 this week, Tone? With if people step up, or you saying 2-1, or 1-3, or 0-3?
If Brunson's back, I'm say yes. We're gonna need some luck. We're gonna need some luck in Orlando, and like I said, we getting the whole crew back for Philly. So
can I
From
say
your lips to God ears. Yes, and then Jeff.
About Orlando, right? So far we 0-3 against them this season, right? But they haven't played this team like our team, right? They never played this team. The first game was we didn't have OG. We didn't have OG or none of those guys, right? The second game, if I'm not mistaken, OG and Julius Randle might have already been out. And the third game. So they really haven't played us at full strength. So, yeah, I mean, the game later this week, I don't know what's going to happen with that game, but I don't think they should be super confident if they meet us in the playoffs, because they haven't played our team at full strength. Orlando. And the Pacers also, by the way, haven't really played us at full strength. So we don't know how we match up against those teams. So I wouldn't go and say we don't match up well against them. I mean, we have some guys now.
I know. I acknowledge that.
So
I acknowledge that.
So it's yeah, maybe.
But I was referring to without our guys.
Right.
Without our guys, they're gonna be
this
tough.
game, when do we play? Friday, right? Yeah, we played them on Friday. So yeah, the game on Friday, I got you. But listen, they lucked out this season. That's all. It's not that they better than us. They just got lucky. They got a good schedule.
Okay, Jeff, your thoughts on this upcoming slate of games and whether or not this rendition of the Knicks can win?
Well, if Brunson comes back Friday, I mean, I don't know. Against Atlanta would be better, but I I don't know that that's even prudent necessarily. If with his knee, it might be a good idea to give him till Friday to rest and just see what you can do against Atlanta, because Atlanta's without Trey also. So they're, you know, I think you could go into that game with, you know, and have a decent chance to win with Brunson or without Brunson. I don't think you're beating Orlando without Brunson, and I don't think you're beating Philly without Brunson, because Maxey is that good. I mean, I don't think that we're just going to be able to go in there shorthanded like we are, because I just don't think our, you know, I don't think we have enough offensive firepower that's consistent that you can rely upon. I think you've got guys who can do it in spots, but we sure haven't seen it from Burks. Bogey's had a couple of good games, but, you know, not really anything that you can really feel like you can say, yeah, we're definitely going to get a good Bogey night. Like, I just don't feel comfortable with that. I kind of do feel that you're going to get points from DiVincenzo. I don't know if he's going to be efficient DiVincenzo or not, just because he's being asked to do so much more. It's tough to ask him to be if an efficient scorer, even with him being an out of this world 3-point shooter like he is. You know, and Josh Hart's not a scorer, so you're going to have ups and downs with him. I think the ancillary stats need to stay at the level they've been, though. I think he needs to be giving us double-digit rebounds. I think he needs to be giving us a bunch of assists, because the more the ball is moving, the better off we're going to be. You know, what are you going to get from Deuce on a nightly basis? You know, he's been a pretty good 3-point shooter, but you know, is he a scorer? I don't really think so, but let's just beat Atlanta first and see where we go from there. I think I'll be shocked if they go 0-3. Any other result would not surprise me.
Okay. All right. Last question, and we can you know, transition out of here. Should Brunson sit out a few games even if the medical staff clears him to play?
A few days, not a few games.
Games.
No, I'm saying a few days, not a few games.
Okay.
So he can miss this next one.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'd have him sit the next one. That way, that gives him until Friday to, you know, it's a nice stretch. It gives him
If he's healthy, he should play. That's what I'm going to say. If they say the knee is good to go, then put him out there. If it's not, then don't. Don't play him if it's not right. But if he gets a clearing from the medical staff to play, he should play, and he will play, because that's just the kind of player Brunson is. You're going to have to, you know, tie him to a chair to keep him out of the game, in my opinion. He wants to win. Thibodeau wants to win. This team wants to win games, and that's, you know, really, for as shorthanded as we are, there's not really a better coach to have in the league in prepping his team than Tom Thibodeau for a situation like this, because those boys are going to be ready to play. That doesn't mean they're necessarily going to win, but they're going to be ready to play, and you're going to get heart, and you're going to get effort, and you're going to get the best of what they have, whatever that may be.
Yeah, I'm with you. If a few days, but if the medical staff clears him to play, because listen, I don't think there's anybody in the Knicks organization that wants to. That's just saying, look, we're just going to win at all costs. We're just going to put people in untenable situations. I just don't believe that. I just don't believe it. Because we don't care whether they get hurt or not. We just want to win. That's really hard for me to believe. I think Tibs as a coach, what did the medical staff say? They said you cleared to play. All right. Then you cleared to play. I don't think he's like, they said you cleared to play. All right, but you know what? I'm gonna sit you anyway, because he's not the medical doctor. He's not the medical staff. The staff let me know if he's ready or not. If he's ready, I'm playing him. Is he on a minutes restriction? Let me know. Yes, he is. Okay, I got it. No, he isn't. Okay, I got it. I think that's how the conversations um are
I agree
going.
with you. I agree with
Yeah.
you.
And to be like, well, he should rest them no matter what they say. And if they say 20 minutes, he should only play them 10. As a coach, you just like you it's so many pieces you're holding. Let me know what I need to know. What do I need to know about iHeart? What do I need to know about Brunson? What you understand? I think that's how it goes. Um, but anyway, shout out to Tony Crow who had to leave us. We closing out anyway. Any last words?
Yeah, I'd like to say, first of all, I apologize for my audio. I don't know what was going on with that. For the chat and for those who had to listen, really sorry for that. But just such an honor and a privilege to be up here with you, Queen. I've missed it a lot. It's good to
Yeah,
be
we
back with my Nick
do.
family. And Ajay, it's so good to see you, man. I'm telling you, it's just good to be back
Likewise,
with
man.
you guys and
Likewise.
talk about this team, especially after such a big win. I was so hyped when they pulled that game. I mean, scared to death. Like I thought our season was over. When I saw them go down, I was like I'm a Jets fan too, so I saw Aaron Rodgers going down part 2, and I was just like, what? Why? And then, but maybe it's not so bad. But if Brunson could come back healthy, then this team has a chance to. They always have a chance in any game when Brunson's on the floor. He's just that good. That's my opinion. That doesn't mean we're going to win every night, but if he's on the floor and can give it his all, we always have a chance to win.
If he's on the floor and we get the support, he gets the support, from the players like they played against Cleveland. Absolutely, the Knicks have a shot in each of these games. But I don't know. We're asking a lot, but we need players to basically play at the top of the game. You know. Ajay, any last words?
Yeah, last word. Shout out to the chat. Always rocking with us. NBK. Salute to NBK chat, and also us when we're on the Dope Soul on Thursday or Friday. This week we're gonna be on Thursday because we have a game on Friday, so we're gonna be on Thursday. All right, and listen, let's hit the like button. We have 100 something. Let me refresh. We have 130, only 76 likes. So still 130. Hit that like button on the way out, man. Make Sim happy.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to Sim, Simeon Russell. I'm looking to see if there is nah, I don't. There's no slide in there. Anyway, we will be at Legends March 10th or
Sunday.
Sunday. That's the Philly game. The Philly game is at 6 p.m. So we're gonna be at Legends. We're gonna do a live pregame podcast from Legends. Andy is in the United States. I heard that from Poland. I heard he landed. Then a bunch of us are going to go over to watch the game live in Madison Square Garden. And then after the game, we're going to come back to Legends and do a live post-game podcast from Legends. So if you're not going to be in the game, come to Legends. Bring your, as a watch party. Be a part of the live podcast. When we go to the game, stay at Legends, watch the game. They have beautiful TVs. It's a sports bar.
It's a nice vibe. It's very
Yeah,
good.
it's a very nice vibe. And then after the game, we'll be back over to meet you guys. I would love to see you guys. I'll be there. Simeon be there. Tony Crow will be there. Andy will be there. I'm not sure about Ron from Still Nick Fans. Eru will be there. And Jarrell, Dope Soul Sports Talk panelist, said he's going to come by at least for the pregame. For the pregame podcast. There'll be a lot of MBK, so yeah. Come by, come by if you can. And like Ajay said, Thursday, Dope Soul Sports Talk. Definitely be there 9 p.m. And I just want to throw this up really quick and go over our MBK family of shows, pregame, postgame, the shoot around with Simeon Russell, the NBA wrap up with Ron, co-founder of Still Nick Fans. Shout out to him. The controversy with Josh, aka Uncle Fulio, The Losers Lounge with Tony Crow, who just left the panel of Knicks and Bruises, and that show is only after the Knicks win. So it wasn't a lot of shows in February. We're hoping to turn this around in March. Live shows and videos by International Andy. I don't know if he's going to get on that now that he's in the States, but he will be on the pre and post game really from live from Legends. So definitely check that out. Queen's Court every Monday, right? With yours truly of Dope Soul Sports Talk. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel as well. Special programs and events by Simeon Russell. We appreciate you guys rocking with us tonight. The replay gang, everybody that's in the chat, Virgo Smith, Joe Long, E. Gibson, PV, Old Head, Knicks are nice, Trish D. I'm not going to be able to get to everybody, but you know, Just Knicks, Wiz
Jerry
coming
Fitz.
by. Wiz just popped all of the good stuff we said about McBride all night long. He pop up talking about he can't get no light. Tibs ain't allowing him to be creative. Come on, Wiz.
Shout out to Wiz, man.
Yeah, shout out to Wiz. Anthony D, Jerry Fitz. I appreciate all of you guys for anybody I missed. I appreciate you guys. We just don't have enough time to shout out everybody. Until next time, fam.